Okay, so if I can just, some of the feedback,
Is your phone, is your speak mic on?
Mr. Superintendent, the feedback, so first of all, I just want to say that I think it's important for us as a body to be disciplined. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we approved criteria, superintendent's coming back with the results. When we get to a point where we're going to completely upend the criteria, we're just, we're wasting time. And we're just, and that, so I'm just, I'm wondering what were we thinking 2 weeks ago? So, yeah, possibly we weren't. But I was. And so I would, you know, urge all of us to try to have a degree of discipline from one meeting to the next. So a couple of things. One is that going forward, I do think step two, this issue, well, to the point that Director Spearman raised, I think is a very good question. I've very specifically asked the question of Mr. Montez at the meeting last time about whether or not this criteria would apply to schools that might be eligible for consolidation. In other words, when we apply this criteria to all the 101 schools that we would see floating to the top, schools that might be 2 or 3 schools on a single campus that might actually float to the top. Now, at least in the first 30 for elementary, there are a handful. But the bulk of those kind of multiple schools on a single campus are on the bottom half. In other words, they're most needed. And so, so going forward, not so much a concern, but I would like to have more, I'm okay with going with criteria too, but I would like us to have a lot more discussion about how you came to identifying these schools for expansion even in the first place. Now, I had heard that there was some kind of inquiry and that on the initiative of schools, that they kind of responded to the inquiry and came up with some ideas. In general, I don't have I think that's probably a good idea. You're asking school sites, I mean, if that was true, or if that's true, if you're asking school sites, you got any ideas of how to, you know, improve the quality of your school? I think that's a pretty common sense. And yet at the same time, I think it's important for this board to know that that is something that we are systematically doing, and are we going to do this not just this year, we're going to do it next year and the year after and so on and so forth. Because I think we should apply some criteria as to, you know, there'll be, you know, 50 different ideas and proposals. How do we make a decision based on those 50? So going forward, I'd like to see more work, but I don't think that that derails so far the criteria and the analysis that you've done so far. The second thing that I'd like to see is based on the guiding principles, based on what we're trying to do, and based on the sort of national practice that when a district closes a school, that the potential of losing up to 20% of those students is sort of a industry average. I don't want to lose 20%. So I want to see, I want to invest money coming from our undesignated reserves this year for the very purpose of doing very individualized outreach to families and being able to prepare all of our so-called receiving schools to be able to do a great job. And I want a numerical goal that we're going to do it, we're going to lose, well, I don't want to lose anybody, but but we're going to have to do somewhere from 0 to 20%. And I want to see that's deliverable. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't want to kick out money just so that we can feel good. I want to see results in that.
Okay.
That's it.